This is a video of our England tour, October 2009. After we visited London, we went north and visited the city of Chester. You'll pause the map and see. Using the GPS in our hire car, we found the car park nearest to the hop-on bus service that I'd chosen. Chester Heritage Tours had this quaint double-decker bus. We started our tour on the bus just outside the city wall, and you can see the wall pub, and then just on the left was the Roman amphitheatre. I was surprised that it was only a tiny little Roman amphitheatre. The city wall surrounds the city of Chester, and it's about a 2-kilometre walk on top of the wall, and we did that later on. Driving into the city centre, we passed the Chester Bills pub, and then after that the Grosvenor Museum, but we didn't have time enough to go in, although I wished I'd gone into the museum. And then we passed the Chester Crown Court, and so then the bus headed southwest out of the city walls down into what they call the Overlea residential tenement house area, and it's typical English tenement houses. And then we passed the St Mary's Church, and in behind that was the old church, which was a lot of Chester's old houses were unique tenement houses with the black and white cladding, as you can see in the video. And then we went back underneath the city wall, and I was told to sit down. You just watched the lady tell me to sit down. It wasn't the first time she told me to do that while I was using the video camera. And here are those more of those black and white cladding old buildings common to Chester. These little English inns are quite unique, and these ones have that Chester black and white look about them. Then we came back around nearly a full circle and past the Grosvenor Museum again, and more of these black and white Chester tenement style houses and pubs and shops.
The most northerly gate. Now if you want to walk the most historic piece of walls, do get on the walls at that particular gateway there.
So as you can see, we were right in the middle of the shopping precinct or district. And that was pretty much the end of the Chester Heritage bus tour. It was a nice, peaceful ride, and we were running out of time by that stage. So we started our walk trying to find the Chester City Wall entrance, and in the process we found the Roman Gardens, so we decided to walk through the Roman Gardens. And if you pause this, you'll see the Roman Gardens story. Likewise, if you pause this, you can see the story of the St John's Baptist Church, and in ruins, of course. And I'm not sure whether they were ruined from bombings or whether they just neglected after a pretty long period of time. After all, it was built in about 1080 AD, and you can pause this and read it. The original building was established in around 674 AD, and then it was built and rebuilt a number of times. And if you pause this and read it, you'll see that The new building has been around for 900 years. The church is right by the Roman amphitheatre. I've lost most of the video and photos at the amphitheatre, but we continued walking in the Cheshire Roman gardens and enjoyed the autumn leaves and the fine weather. For England anyway, fine weather. Each of these little stone memorial parks and things are actually Roman artefacts made of stone that were excavated in the area around the amphitheatre and the Roman garden itself. You'll have to excuse the wobbly video, but my wife wasn't paying attention when she was filming.
Well, the Romans didn't, so it's fine. Now, any germ that's on your bottom, if you don't wash your bottom, you've still got live germs on when you walk out to that bathroom, and all the germs are going, hey, never got me. Well, the Romans is what we call hygiene. Have you heard the word hygiene?
Come away from this guy.
It's your subject on the school one of these days.
You can pause this and read it, but basically in the 1600s, Charles I and his royalists were at war with the civilian parliamentarians, and Chester was under siege and there was a lot of damage before they actually surrendered the city to the parliamentarians. Scattered all through this park were artefacts of stone pillars and things from the Roman period. Once the walking tour had moved away, we got to take a photograph of the hypocaust, which is Roman baths and a storage of 500,000 litres of water. This area was called the Chester Squirrel Park or Grosvenor Park, and I thought it was part of the Roman gardens. And like everywhere in England, there was a lot of squirrels, and these ones were grey ones. We later on in our England tour we saw the red ones as well. We also came across this bloke wandering through the gates with no pants on, just a skirt. Probably a Scotsman with his bagpipes. The Chester Roman wall is pretty much a square wall with towers on either corner. Pause this if you want to read it, but basically there was a plaque on each of the four entrances that we saw to the city wall. Now the city wall itself took 20 years to build between 74 AD and 96 AD by the Romans to defend the city. And just down there would have been a 9-foot deep ditch filled with water, a moat. Pause this if you want to read the story about it. When you drive under the city wall to go into the city centre, you pass by one of these entrances to walk up and look down the city. And here's another one of the plaques on the walls. The plaque tells the story about how the Roman legion occupying the city would guard the city, stand at the walls. It also describes the amphitheatre, which can be seen from the walls. There was a lot more video of walking around the walls and looking down over the edge, but unfortunately I've lost that video. But you can see these still shots of how good the stonework is still existing, although they've built some railing of course. But it was quite interesting to wander around the whole city on the city walls. And here's a photograph of one of the entrances So the video was produced by myself, and it's the end of another exciting video of our visit to Chester and the hop on hop off bus in our England tour, October 2009.